All right, three, two, one, and we are up. Hey everybody, it's Adam here from the It's Adam Show, and it is episode 7. And I've already had a few crazy athletes on the show, and I'm bringing another one back. This guy is a ground and pound MMA smasher. We got Antonin on the show today. Brother, how you doing?
Really good. Thank you very much for having me, Adam.
You're very, very welcome. And I got a question for you. You just started training for your fight. You're building up to one, and then you had some injuries, and now you're going back into a fight. What's going on, man?
Yeah, that's correct. I won't go too much into the injury aspect, but essentially I was supposed to fight last weekend, and unfortunately I got injured, so I just couldn't do it. It was just too early, but I'm doing much better now. The rehab is going great. The strength conditioning is going great. I'm already back to, wrestling live, which is the most important thing. And I'm probably fighting August 15th, seems to be.
Nice. So, I want to just kind of undercover for our viewers real quick. Like, where
Yeah.
did your fight career start off? I saw that you're 2-2 right now.
Yeah, I'm 2-1 MMA, and I also fought in Muay Thai and kickboxing. But now I've been training for about 6, 7 years, something like that.
Nice.
Yeah, and sorry, you go right ahead, Adam.
Where did you start off? Did you do stuff like kind of like in the jujitsu aspect or striking? Where was square one for Antonin?
So if you've only seen my fights, you probably think I'm more of a grappler, but I actually started with Muay Thai. That was my start. I got very lucky. I had a friend of mine. Essentially, he ran a Muay Thai gym in Luxembourg, and at the time it was illegal to fight Muay Thai in Luxembourg. So all the fighters would go to Thailand to fight. And he happened to bring all his fighters to Thailand. He invited me to come for a fight camp. I had zero striking experience whatsoever. Went to Thailand for a few weeks, and then I got back home with all these skills I learned. It was amazing, and the pandemic started. So I was stuck at home,
Yeah.
all these skills I learned, and essentially not being able to practice, right? So I just trained on my own, did a lot of shadow boxing, and I dealt with injuries then. And turned out to I ended up doing a lot of visualization training, which helped a lot. And then once I was back in, I joined London Muay Thai in London. And then I think it was approximately 3 years ago, I joined Niagara Top Team and started to grapple. And the rest is history. Now I'm a wrestling machine, not even a striker no more.
Nice. There you go. I was actually looking at some of your fights. I saw at BTC 35 you were
Hmm.
laid down a big underdog in the fight. If that's if I'm
Hmm.
my knowledge on that. How did you feel going into that fight? You did.
Oh, I
I'm just curious.
felt great. Yeah, it's I fought a wrestler. I think it was David LeBlanc. A really good wrestler. He's about 10 years of wrestling experience. But they told me the way I was gonna win this was with my wrestling, and they were totally right. I didn't underestimate myself whatsoever. I didn't care that he had all this experience. I knew at the end of the day I wrestle with the best in Canada, and I do pretty good against them. So I was really confident in myself and comfortable in there. He came out really hot. He was trying to knock my head off, which is, pretty fair. Uh, and yeah, I handled it pretty well. I made an uncomfortable situation a bit more comfortable. And yeah, I got very lucky and I got the win. Ended up out wrestling him. At the end of the fight, actually, it was pretty funny. The coaches came to me and they were like, "Where did you wrestle?" Because they had no idea I could do that, right? They thought David was going to completely out wrestle me. And yeah, I just told him, yeah, Niagara Top Team. It's been 3 years and they take good care of me. And yeah, this was a fun fight for sure.
Nice. I was gonna ask that. Yeah, you trained with Niagara Top Team up to this fight, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Who are some of your biggest like support partners and coaches building up to this fight?
So actually, what's great about Naga Top Team is, and I always say this, is almost every training partner I have could generally have their own gym. That's how talented the gym is, right? So, when it comes to main coaches, obviously there's Jelly, Chris, D-Marks, but also, I have Javon, I have Hannah Allegret, Clay, Kevin. I could go on. Like, it's just fantastic. And same thing with training partners. I mean, one of my main training partners, Aiden, and He's now 9-0. He's gonna turn pro in October. So yeah, I'm pretty fortunate. I have a lot of great training partners and amazing coaches. I mean, generally, when I say this, the best in Canada.
That's awesome to hear. I know what it's like to have a team of people, whether it be in wrestling or in martial arts, at your side, and that support and that accountability just makes you, surpass your expectations every time.
Hmm.
So, I wanted to ask you because I was looking, you got celiac apathy
Hmm.
there. That really did catch my eye. I need an explanation on that.
So celiac is an autoimmune disease. Essentially, impacts your whole body. To put it short, it's like kind of similar to an allergy to gluten. The only thing is that it starts in your small intestine. So basically, when you ingest gluten, approximately 8 hours later, the protein itself goes into your small intestine, and then it creates a allergic reaction, at least like, where my white blood cells are going to attack my villi. I don't know if you know the villi in the small intestine, but they come out kind of like this. That way, there's more surface area. Exactly. That way, they can absorb more. The more surface area, the better the absorption. So in a celiac, because my white blood cells that completely attack them, they're like this. So there's very little amount of absorption. Most people with celiacs are very tiny. In my case, I went to high school. I was 4'11" and 90 pounds going to grade 9. I was a very small kid because I went undiagnosed for the first 18 years of my life. And it impacts everything from I get very sharp glass pain in my intestine. It kind of feels like I'm digesting glass, which is kind of weird. Um, I obviously, you can imagine it's intestinal issues. So there's throwing up. There's a lot of, I don't have to go into details, but also you get brain fog, you get headaches, you get joint pain, you get depression. It goes on and on because it's complete autoimmune, right? It's every part of your body that's impacted. And so you're more prone to getting colon cancers and other types of cancers in the future, more prone to getting cardiovascular issues in the future, especially if undiagnosed for a long period of time. Now, I was very lucky. I had a good doctor listen to me, and I got diagnosed almost when I was at 19. But, the first 19 years of my life, I spent suffering, unfortunately. But you don't realize that. That's your baseline, right? Is suffering. And it's not until you get out of that and you get diagnosed and then you take good care of your body that you realize, oh, well, actually, I feel fantastic. The baseline is not a year, it's year. It's huge difference. And I feel like ever since I got diagnosed, I have so much energy. I already could put on muscle pretty easily, but now it's even easier. I sleep fantastically. I'm in a great mood. I don't have joint pain, no brain fog, no headaches, no gut pain, no bloating, which is huge. Um, and because I normalized that, I was an athlete my whole childhood, right? With celiac, undiagnosed. And then all of a sudden, I kept being an athlete, but diagnosed. And I normalized being in pain and suffering all the time. And then all of a sudden, I could continue to do what I do, but without all that. And it was huge for me. I feel like it just made me such a better athlete because I had such a poor baseline to begin with that when I started to, take good care of my body and essentially just feeling normal, I was able to level up like crazy and become the athlete that I am today. And I look forward to even, being even better over the next 5 years. Because I don't know if you've seen some of my clips, but I went from being 190 pounds lean to getting diagnosed, and I was suffering a lot in the beginning because it's really hard to kind of figure out what gets you sick, what doesn't. I dropped to, I was 190 lean when I was 18. Uh, Pretty impressive for an 18-year-old, I'm not gonna lie. And then
I'm like one. I'm like 5'6". I'm not tall by any means, but
I come from a family of like we all have really good genes. And my mom, she has a neck. It's unbelievable. Like you'd think she wrestled her whole life. My sister is 5'8" and she's more jacked than I am. It's beyond impressive. My brother is 6'4", and he doesn't realize it, but he has amazing genetic potential when it comes to putting on muscle. And my dad's an athlete as well, right? So I got very lucky. But I went from being 190, dropped to 140, and I had to slowly build that up to the weight that I am today. And I tell our guys all the time, I think I could be 210 lean. I won't go there because there's no point. But
I wouldn't be. I don't think that's far fetched at all.
no,
I got allergies as well. I don't have celiac. I know people
yeah.
with celiac. I actually had an allergic reaction the other day. Funny enough,
Hmm.
pleasant. It's kind of like how you're describing. I have like gut pains, like a little bit
Hmm.
not good. I don't have like allergy attacks like ever. Like this is like
Hmm.
so it was a silly story. It's a walnut banana bread in the fridge. Whatever. That's beside the point. So yeah, I understand kind of where you're coming from. Celiac I know is a little bit different. So like with I guess like because I have many different diet things I have to handle around for trying to like one for like the running, keeping up my calories and stuff. How do you do it? Like for weight cuts and just like keeping a good clean diet. How do you do it?
Yeah, so in my case, I was already eating really healthy before I even got diagnosed. When it comes to celiac, you're just eating gluten-free and avoiding cross-contamination. So that's the hard part is the latter, right? Any trace amount can get me sick. Even like a grain of rice, sorry, a grain of bread can get me very like can get a whole a reaction from me. But when it comes to the eating and dieting, it's pretty simple. I can eat a lot of normal food. I'm getting rice, potatoes. I can eat a lot of quinoa, stuff like that. When it comes to protein, entirely everything is gluten free. The only thing I gotta be worried about is the seasoning and the preparation method. If I'm buying something that's already prepared. And then the fruits and veggies, everything is fine as well. So I can eat a pretty well balanced diet. It's just trying to minimize contamination because let's say I get contaminated as I'm cutting for a certain weight, it's gonna impact my body in a way that I won't be able to control. It could either make me drop more weight than I need to, or make me gain more weight than I need to. So just trying to avoid cross-contamination at all costs. And other than that, the dieting is pretty simple. When it comes to making weight, all I'm doing is increasing my protein amount. I'm still eating just as much, just as many calories, just eating a little bit differently.
Nice. Yeah, would the same way I'm to like be able to like manage out the eggs and stuff or like the
Hmm.
dairy because I would love to chug a gallon of chocolate milk to replenish my calories.
Hmm.
It's really funny. Have you seen my Instagram where I rate bread or no?
Yeah, yes,
I think this is crazy because I think if I had celiac, I would not be here alive today. Um,
fair enough.
I mean, for a few reasons. Um, yeah, like so, like you've been celiac, um, like your whole life. Sorry.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
When you said you just to carry back to what you're saying, so you made that pivot, and like were able to start kind of building and getting like stronger and healthier as a better athlete because you knew what practices to do to then resolve like not having to constantly deal with gut pain and all this stuff, right?
Absolutely, but it was a lot of trial and error. I was very sick the first few years of my diagnosis, right? Because you realize grow back, so there's more surface area for pain, and you're more likely to get contaminated in the beginning because every little thing can get you sick. I mean, spices, for example, people wouldn't think that, but that can get you sick. The creams you use that can get you sick as well. I found a board game that contained a Play-Doh thing that contained gluten. I mean, it's crazy to think. Yeah, you got to be careful of everything as a celiac.
Much.
Yeah, because let's say I touch it, now I touch my face or touch my lips or I touch something, and later on, a few weeks later, it touches, goes around and all, and yeah, it's very easy to contaminate your whole place. So
That's like me.
you become very paranoid in the beginning, and you kind of have to adapt to that. I was depressed in the beginning. I was barely eating because I was always sick, and I just didn't want to eat because I didn't want to take the risk. And there was nothing I could do to feel better. It was very frustrating because you don't know, you don't understand what's getting you sick because it's any trace amount.
Hmm.
So it was a bit tough in the beginning, but once you figure it out, it's a lot easier. They always say the first 2, 3 years of your diagnosis is the hardest, but eventually, you start to understand yourself, your body, and also what you got to do to be healthier.
Yeah, I completely understand that because like nuts were like airborne and like touch
Hmm.
well for me younger, so I'd be way down in the other classroom, and all of a sudden I'm like, I'm seizing
I can imagine. Yeah,
up. So yeah, no, that there was, the dietary restrictions. They're a real thing, and I'm glad
for sure.
you're shedding light on it, just to kind of make people aware, because it is something that definitely interferes with, you trying to go out there and be an athlete and stuff. But I want to pivot the conversation over because you're putting all this time in the training. I'm always seeing it online. So I mean, hey,
Hmm.
see you in the work.
Thank you.
You're also working a job as well. So you gotta manage both these. You're trying to bring up a fight career and also put in punch in, punch out. How do you manage that, man?
That's the tough part, right? It's I wish I could train more. I wish I could do more always, right? But I gotta pay the bills somehow, right? So I work a 9 to 5. I'm Tuesday to Saturday. I work for Napoleon. It's a very nice job, to be honest. It's fully remote. I work from home. So it's not physically draining. It is mentally draining, but it's not physically draining. I used to do hard labor and train. And that was beyond exhausting. I remember I used to get home and I would sit on the couch and stare at the wall for 2 hours because I was so dead before eating my food, before showering, before anything. So I'm very fortunate with the job I have. But at the end of the day, the goal is always to be able to train full time and go all out into this career.
Hmm.
It is a wild sport, right? You want to be able to train as much as you can, as hard as you can, and be as efficient as you can. So as of now, I work 9 to 5, and I try to have a training in the morning,
Hmm.
and I train about 2 to 3 hours, depending if I can, in the evening. And on Sunday, Mondays, I try to do 2 to 3 trainings as well. So it's 7 days a week for me because I don't get to train as much as the pros, but I still get a decent amount for sure. And I try to be efficient with my hours, right? That's the most important is I'm not getting 8 hours of training a day, but I'm getting 4 to 5 good quality hours. I'm going 100%. I'm trying to learn as much as possible. I'm showing up to training mentally ready to be the best that I can be.
Nice. So I have two things I want to ask. One, 8 hours of training. Okay, I do a lot of running, man. Hold on. I gotta dive deep into that. And then two, I want to ask you. I want to get to the training one first, but after I want to ask you about like your physically demanding job and then doing the training. How much training are these pros doing? I mean, I know it's their job, so it makes sense that they're putting a lot in. Like Cody Kovanacek, I'm sure is putting out a lot, and like Jasmine and all these other people.
Mhm.
What does a typical training look like for you and then for them?
So it depends on the individual, right? A lot of them, they'll do about 2 to 3 sessions a day. The goal for me would be to essentially do 2 2-hour skill session a day. That would be 4 hours. 1 1 to 2 hour strength conditioning session a day, and approximately I would do one either a yoga or a swim sesh or something that's going to be essentially cardiovascular focused and at the same time injury prevention focused, which is why I like the swim or the yoga, and also a rehab session, right? So it's not 8 hours of hard training. That's impossible.
Yeah.
No, that's not, no, but it is a good 3 to 4 hours of hard training a day. And that would be for 6 days a week. And there would be days where it's a little less, and there would be days where it's a little more.
Right.
So it would average out to approximately 6 to 8 hours a day. Uh, but it's not 8 hours of hard training. And when it comes to the pros, like I said, it depends on the individual. I know, for example, Aaron Jeffries and Elias as well. These guys, that's what they do. They're doing the 8 hours. They do, they're training insanely, like a lot. And when they're not training, they're trying to do their stuff that they need to do in order to be ready for the next session, whether it's taking a nap, eating, going on a walk, the little recovery aspect that are extremely important, right? It's a full-time job at the end of the day if you want to be the best.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was thinking, viewing it as like it makes sense. Like if that's your career, like that's your job, it's
Mhm.
what. So that completely makes sense. Thanks for breaking that down, explaining it. Now, you were doing this physical. I worked physically in a managing job and done training.
Mhm.
Also, not doing a career at it. So, how did you do that, and what was your job?
Yeah, so I worked as a mover, which was pretty rough. I did also some concrete forming and all, but so when I was at NTT, it was mainly as a mover. I will say I got very strong very fast. I was already a pretty strong guy, and then I would show up to the jobs, and there'd be sometimes 6 to 8 hour jobs, and I'd be like, "We're doing in 4," and I would hustle my ass and try to move stuff as fast as I can, and but yeah, it would be one of those jobs where a lot of times, unfortunately, like I would even have to skip practice because I was so exhausted at the end. Uh, I say a lot of times, sometimes I hate to skip practice, but it would happen, right? I remember I had a kickboxing fight, and then 2 days before, I was asked to go move I think it was a 2 ton piano, no, a 1 ton piano, which is crazy. It's like, what are we doing? This is supposed to be my, my recovery week, my relax week, and I'm lifting like a super heavy piano. It's
One time.
so it was rough for sure. I'm happy it didn't last long. I knew I had to stop it from the beginning,
Hmm.
uh, but I had to pay the bills at that point, and that was the only thing that was hiring. So, I don't regret taking the job
Hmm. It's all experience under your belt at the end of the day.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I know you said you've been training martial arts for 6, 7 years, and you also said you've been an athlete for many years. So, what sports did you do before, if you did any, for martial arts?
So I was a competitive swimmer. I used to chase the Olympic dream. I was nowhere near that level, but I was chasing it regardless. So I was studying all the how the Olympians train, and I was trying to mimic that. So when I say 8 hours a day, I'm saying it because I used to do that. This was the norm. One had a lot more free time, of course. But yeah, I was a competitive swimmer. I also played rugby. And then I played all kinds of sports growing up, basketball, soccer, you name it. Yeah, I was always, my parents were very athletic themselves. My dad played football, he played volleyball. My mom is just a natural freak athlete. I mean, I don't, she never really played sports, but it's actually incredible how athletic she is naturally. And same with my siblings, we always played sports. But for me, around the age of 11 and 12, something clicked. And I knew I wanted to be more than I was in terms of athleticism. I knew I had the potential to be more. I was always a small, tiny, but very intelligent kid. And I knew that if I used my brains in growing my body, I could be something special. And I put in a lot of work. And I think something clicked around the age of 15, 16. I just kind of, after years of research and trying to understand how the best train, I started to figure it out and adapt myself and my training to mimic that. And within approximately 1 or 2 years, I went from being a fairly skinny kid to an insanely athletic kid. And yeah, ever since I'm always trying to be better, and I'm trying to constantly learn from people that are more athletic than me and from coaches that have more insight than I do. And I mean, every day I'm learning so much. There's always a new study that comes out as well. There's always more to learn and more to add. So I'm always trying to strive to be the most athletic version of myself.
Nice. And that's with physical, but then also mental capabilities, right?
For sure, absolutely. I mean, you talk mental. My first 3 fights, I couldn't hurt my opponents. Like I had to work a lot of mental work to get to the point that I am today because that was something that didn't feel natural for me to try to kill another individual in the cage. So that's one of the biggest things I've worked on actually these past couple of years, more than skills, more than anything.
I was gonna ask you that. Yeah, I seen that your first two fights were they weren't knockouts, but they were losses. And
Mhm.
starting off your career, I think most people would have, you know, kicked it. But whatever, it's not for me after the first two losses. But then you built up, and then you got that first win. Or
Mhm.
because you done, yeah, sorry, that's right. Continuing to win from there, like you did with your last fight. Um, yeah, you were talking about sort of the progression there of actually being able to lay on, that beat down. Like, how was that mentally?
It's, I mean, now it's pretty natural, but essentially I had to learn to dehumanize another person. I'm someone who naturally see the best in people, and that's to my strength. But when you get in there and you try to kill another human being, that's to my weakness. So I had to essentially desensitize myself and dehumanize the person that I'm facing. Doesn't mean be mean to that person, be rude whatsoever, but essentially kind of view punching bag rather than view an actual living, breathing person. Uh, Sounds pretty dark, but it's unfortunately what I had to do and what I have to do in order to succeed, right? It is kill or be kill at the end of the day. It is the fight game. I can't go in there thinking it's just a sport.
Mm.
I got to go in there thinking more of it and turning those emotions and essentially closing my heart to that person. Um, so it doesn't mean I have any ill will to these people whatsoever. It's easier for me to turn that off and I can turn that back on after the fight.
Exactly, and I myself don't have in cage experience, but like from wrestling mats and other competitions, yeah, like just yeah, exactly like you're saying, flipping that switch and knowing that when I'm here, this is what I have to do, right?
Mhm.
Through that, what's been like the scariest moment in all of that? Maybe from training or for the fights. Have you had like a big moment like that?
Mm, I don't know. I have a decent amount of control of my emotions, so I don't know about scary, but I've had like a lot of injuries, obviously. I mean, I've been slammed on the back of my head. I've been TKO'd. Like, there's it's a tough sport, right? So, but when it comes to actual fear, I'm actually very calm in there, which is kind of weird. Even after my losses, I always get in there very calm. I've had like way scarier events in my life happen before I even started to fight. So for me, fighting isn't that scary. It's actually fairly safe. It's not safe, but it's fairly safe compared to a lot of stuff I've done. I used to be that dumb kid that would risk their life on a regular basis, so I've had a lot of near-death experiences, and that has made me not only appreciate life, but also just kind of be more comfortable in these scenarios, right? So for me, fighting isn't really scary. Training isn't really scary. Um, but yeah, if you're talking about that, I would say probably it's just some injuries that I've had. It's always pretty gross and feels weird in the moment.
Hmm. What's been like the worst injury you've had? If you care to expand on that.
Yeah. Well, it wouldn't be in fighting. It was when I was a dumb kid, trying to skateboard and be cool. And I remember one time, I was about 15 actually, and I did the easiest trick. It was like an ollie 180 on a rail, and I was just trying to ollie off. Essentially, if you don't know what that is, I just with my skateboard jumped on the rail, did a board slide, and then try to get off. And when I did, my foot was on one side and my knee was facing the other way, and I broke my tibia, fibula, a few bones in my ankles, and a few bones in my foot. My leg was going like this, like it wasn't straight. It was disgusting. I destroyed my leg. I screamed like I never had before. I've never felt pain like that in my life. Um, they put me on morphine immediately, as you can imagine. They had to reconstruct my leg. I have a metal bar and 30 screws in it. Um, the disgusting part that was before, so I had the surgery, I think like 4 days after that broke it. And my foot was still broken to the side and they had to re-break it before the surgery to set it straight. And it already started to heal, and that was even more painful than the actual initial break. And yeah, that was pretty rough. But yeah, that's probably up there.
Whoa. Yeah, man, I see why you're calm. You're so calm, dude. I love skateboarding. On the occasion, I've been
Hmm.
playing recently, but last summer I was really trying to learn how to do the ollie. I got a little bit of it. I kind of more like just be able to ride around, do some tic tacs.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to skateboard. Yeah.
Played as well or no?
I did when I was young, but then ever since I broke my leg, it kind of hurts. Like not anymore. I'm sure I can do fine. I used to be a big skater actually. I was very good at skating. And then ever since I broke my leg, it always felt weird to get back on the ice or on the rollerblade. So I haven't in a while.
Yeah. Okay, I got a question for you because it sounds like you've done every sport underneath the sun. What sports have you not done? Have you done hockey?
No, I wanted to get into it. That's why I was skating, but no, I didn't. Instead, I choose the competitive swimming, which treated me pretty well. I feel like I'm also negative buoyant, which I had no idea until after I finished swimming. So essentially, I can't float; I sink because essentially like my bone density is a little too it's too dense for me to float. And because I'm always lean and have a lot of muscle mass, it's harder for me to float. So as a swimmer, you don't want to be sinking, you want to be on top of the water. That way you have the least amount of drag possible. So I was chasing the Olympic dream like a dumbass, being 5'9", having short limbs, and not being able to float. And it made me very athletic because I had to put in a lot more effort to just, stay afloat. But I was nowhere near where I wanted to be skill-wise when it comes to my swimming career.
So that begs me the question then: if you weren't doing fighting and you were able to keep going at swimming, like, would you want to do that, and where would you kind of want to be with that, like the Olympic dream?
I mean, like it would genetically be impossible. I wouldn't have to be like 6'7" and complete. But I know what you mean.
You had motor boats in your arms and in your
I mean, the Olympic dream is a dream, right? Like I think it's amazing. Um, I think I would pursue that Olympic dream just because that was something I grew up, doing. But after that, what would I do after that? I think I love fighting. For me, it's not just the sport, but the mental aspect. The fact that you're trying to be the best martial artist ever, and you're trying to essentially test that out. Whenever we fight, we're testing our arts. We're testing what we learn, right? There's something beautiful and raw about the sport that you can't get anywhere else. So it's hard to say because if I didn't know fighting, I wouldn't know any better. But now that I know fighting, I can't think of anything else. I mean, it's the reason I cut my nails, the reason I shower every day, the reason I eat good, the reason I live the good life, I recover properly, is because I love to fight. It's hard. It would be hard to say.
yeah. So it seems like that this path that you've been put on is the one that you believe in. You don't believe in anything else. It's like your destiny, your faith, or your in a good way. It's like that's how it's actually going. So that's the way you're grateful for it to be, right?
For sure. Seems to be that way.
Nice. So I wanted to ask you some blitz questions here. Are you
Yep.
these are with Anthony? These are always super fun. Um, if you could only do one or the other, so you have to pick one or the other.
Okay.
Um, Striker or grappler?
You can't ask me that.
Who's
You can't ask me that. Come on. I'm a well-rounded fighter. Okay. I'm a well-rounded fighter. I was gonna say. I guess if you had to pick grappling, because wrestling is king. You can't win MMA without wrestling.
okay? If you, I said one or the other, but if you had to describe your worst weight cut in one sentence,
I'm actually really good with weight cutting. But my first fight I took on 16-hour notice, and I had to cut 10 pounds.
okay.
It wasn't bad. Like I did it pretty easily, but that was the most I did in a short amount of time. Probably the worst weight cut story is the one I didn't do. I fought the day before weigh-in against a guy who cut 15 to 20 pounds. I cut 0 pounds. So on fight night, I was 160 pounds, and he was like about close to 180. And it's actually the story we tell every fighter who wants to fight in the States because it's day before weigh-in. They're like, hey, here's what happened to Antonin. So I'm like, I'm the poster boy for, hey, sometimes you got to cut some weight.
What's like the difference? Because I know like in wrestling, like you definitely feel it, like maybe like a 15-20 pound difference. What's it like in like MMA? It's still pretty drastic.
So in this case, it was a kickboxing fight. But like every punch he threw, I was blocking, and it didn't matter. He punched me. I remember for the first punch he did was a hook, and I blocked it. My whole body shifted, and then right away, me and my coach were like, "Fuck, like this is gonna be a long night." And yeah, that was rough. I mean, I got knocked down like 4 times. I think I stood back up every single time because I'm a stubborn guy. Luckily, it was never a clean shot too. It was always he would like punch and I would fall, and then they'd be like, "All right, 1, 2," like fuck, like. But yeah, It's tough. And then when it comes to MMA, I would assume it'd be even tougher because the wrestling, the grappling, those few pounds make a huge difference.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, I mean, whenever I see guys that are fighting above a weight class that they're used to fighting, a lot of time the other dude just takes them down and just stays on top of them. And it's impossible for them to get out unless they have amazing ground game.
Hmm.
So I would say definitely matters. I mean, there's a reason why we have weight classes.
Hmm. This is another good one, and I don't know if it's going to be possible for you to think of it, but
Yeah,
there's one food you'd be able to bring into your diet if celiac vanished tomorrow.
baguettes.
Baguettes. No question.
I'm French. I grew up eating all the pastries and big, good bread and all. Are you kidding? Baguette. I love croissants too, but baguettes all day.
So sorry, you would eat bread when you were younger before you knew your celiac, and you kind of just dealt with, and you're like, oh, this is just a side effect.
I had to, I mean, I was always sick, right? So I didn't know what was getting me sick because it's any trace amount. So there's always a trace amount in my diet when I was undiagnosed. So yeah, I had all the good stuff. I had the baguette, all the pastries, everything you can think of. In McDonald's, like whatever you name it, ate everything. And because I wasn't absorbing food, I actually like even at one point thought I could become a competitive eater because I was eating anywhere between 10,000 calories a day every day. I would go to Pizza. I ordered two extra large pizza, and within 20 minutes, it'd be all gone. I would go to McDonald's, and I wasn't ordering one or two burgers. No, I was ordering 8 burgers. It was insane looking back. I don't know how I did it, but I used to watch the strongman and bodybuilders, and then be like, oh, well, they eat 10,000 calories. I'm 5'6", I can eat 10,000 calories too because I was a kid. I was stupid. It didn't clue into me that something was not right.
Wait, so hold on. Because you were saying your villi and your microvilli, because they're like blunted. You're just not absorbing the calories as much because
Very little.
so because so that's naturally how it looks in your intestines when you have celiac, right?
Yeah. So if when you're undiagnosed, now my villi grew back, so I'm absorbing food properly.
Because you're not eating the gluten, which is what's
Yes. Exactly, because it creates a autoimmune reaction, and the white blood cells attack the villi directly, which is what causes the kind of like the sharp pain in my intestine. And then when I got diagnosed and switched the diet, exactly, it grew back exactly.
nice. Yeah, so the baguettes and McDonald's and all that stuff had that. They had to kick the can, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, so yes,
Yeah. Have you ever like had some stuff occasionally, or is it like very like
zero. It's not worth it because I'd be sick for a few weeks.
weeks? Really?
Hmm. Yeah, and essentially, it's like eating poison, right? Like I'm more prone to like most people will go and diagnose with celiac. They die young. I'm more prone to early mortality if I don't take it seriously. That's why all my friends that have celiac, and sometimes they'll be like, "Yeah, I had a little bite of this and that." They don't realize that they're causing themselves so much harm in the long term. It's one of those you have to take extremely seriously. I mean, it's just not worth it at the end of the day. It's your life, it's your body, it's your health. And, for me, like, I love the idea of eating a croissant. It doesn't even come to my mind. It's not even worth it because I know the amount of damage it would do.
Hmm. Yeah, that's the same way I think of the allergies. Like I know I
For sure.
a little bit of dairy, a little bit of eggs. I mean, I just don't do it ever. It's like
Hmm.
I even have the temptation because it's like I don't even like ever do it. But yeah, I understand like you know curiosity might peak up, but it's not worth it. Like, what am I figuring out?
No, definitely not worth it.
Yeah. Now, what is the toughest round you've ever thought or fought? And that could be in the cage or in the gym. What's been like you know been a tough.
There's only one person that gives me the toughest runs, and that's Aiden. I fought the best of the best, sparred the best of the best, and Aiden will still beat the shit out of me. It's that.
Who Aiden is, just to kind of cue everyone in so they know.
Yeah, so Aiden, he's 9-0 as a fighter. He's 19 years old, and he's probably like one of the best in Canada, even including the pros, which says a lot. He's a kid, and it's amazing. I remember the first time I sparred him, he was 16, and he beat like I don't think I landed one punch on him. He beat the absolute living shit out of me. And I went back home and I called my sister. I'm like, I just got beat up by 16 years old. I don't know what the hell's going on. Like I was in shock. I was like, what the hell was that? And sorry,
How old are you now?
I'm 27 now and Aiden's 19. And honestly, like for me, like I do okay with Aiden. That's great. If I do okay with Aiden, I do great against everybody else in the world. Like I'm very confident, you know. So, but he's for sure my hardest rounds. And when it comes to the grappling, like I feel like I give him good looks because I'm a really explosive wrestler. Uh, but it's like I remember when we first started to train together, it'd be like, okay, well, I got submitted 9 times in this round. Okay, great. Now it's like, okay, well, it's only been one to 3 times. I'm doing fantastic, you know. But yeah, he's for sure the toughest round. And I'm telling you this, like I've been with some of the best in Canada,
Mhm.
and I will still put Aiden above everybody else.
Wow.
His ability to finish fights is incredible. It's like it's world class.
That's awesome. I might have to get him on the podcast. Wow, it sounds.
Please do. Like he's amazing.
Yeah, maybe after the show we'll talk about see maybe
Mhm.
something up. Is
For sure.
fight like PFL like
So he's an amateur. He just finished. He's 9-0 with 9 finishes in amateur fighter, which is like it must be a record. I've never heard of something like that.
murder?
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. And then he's turning pro in October 24th on the Prospect Show.
Nice.
And then from there, I mean, odds are he'll be in the UFC within a couple of years.
I would bet. Hey, you know what? That I really do think I need to get him on the show. So then, hey, we'll watch out for that. So Aiden is
Definitely do. Yeah,
watching this, buddy. Let's get you on the It's Adam show. I'd love to get your story up, and then in the next few years we'll keep rising. All right. But back
for sure.
to you, Antonin. Enough about Aiden. We'll get back to Aiden later. What is your advice to somebody that just lost their debut fight?
Keep your head up. You know, it's experience at the end of the day. Win or lose, you're a fighter now. You know, don't forget that.
Mm-hmm.
Most people will not get in the cage, they will not get in the ring, but you did. And that's something to be proud of. Whether you lost all 3 rounds or you got finished, you know, in the first 10 seconds, it doesn't matter. You had the balls to go in there and to put in your best, you know. So it's something to be proud of and keep your head up. I lost my first 3 fights and it didn't matter. It was all great experience. It made me a better fighter regardless. Just be smart as well, you know. Don't be one of those guys who get concussed, you know, and then immediately back to fighting again a month later, you know. Listen to your body. But yeah, don't let up and don't forget that your dream is much bigger than one fight.
Nice. That's a good piece of advice. I like that. I agree with that a lot. I want to ask a few more blitz questions before we close off here. What's your go-to knockout song? I love asking this one. What's your go-to?
I don't have one, but I do like walking out the French rap. I'm not gonna lie.
What's sorry?
French rap.
French rap. Okay.
But last one, I was DMX. It was a DMX song because it was the home crowd. I'm like, I can't walk out the French rap. They're gonna be like, who the hell is this guy? Uh, so I picked like an American rap. But yeah, my first MMA fight, I did a Viking song. That was pretty cool, but it didn't get me in the mood. The French rap, it just gets me in a fun mood. You know, it makes me ready to be mean, but also like ready to be relaxed and have fun, and I like that.
What is one gym you'd fly out to go to, anywhere in the world?
One gym I would fly out to go to anywhere in the world. Hard to say, but you know, I know we have a lot of our guys. They go to Bangtao in Phuket. Also, Tiger Muay Thai. I would love to. I trained in Koh Samui at Jun Gym. That was a fantastic gym. Would love to go back. It's not the highest level gym, but the coaches were amazing. Yeah, I mean, there's so many great gyms. I would love to go to the main one in Paris. There's a few in Brazil too. There's so many in the States. It's hard to say. There's a lot of great gyms, but I think I would probably do like a training camp in Thailand and maybe in Tiger Muay Thai or Bangtao.
Awesome. I want to ask you one last closing question here. Um, maybe this piece of advice for me, but anyone else that's also a young fighter, say they're 18, 17, 16, just any age that's young, right? Um, if I wanted to start getting into fighting, what would you tell me?
I'd say a few things. One, pick the right gym. You know, you want a gym where coaches are going to give you attention, coaches are going to believe in you, and coaches aren't going to bullshit you. You don't want yes people around you.
Yeah.
This is not a sport where you want yes men around you. You want coaches to tell you, hey, maybe this isn't for you. Maybe you got to work on this, work on that. You don't want people to tell you, yeah, you're good no matter what. Don't even worry. You're like, you don't need that. That's how you get hurt. Um, Pick the right martial arts. Wrestling is king. You know, you need to wrestle. If you're not wrestling at a high level, you know, this isn't a sport for you. You need to wrestle. Make sure you pick your right striking, whether it's boxing, Muay Thai, kickboxing, something where you're using everything and you can turn and utilize into your wrestling. And make sure you do jiu-jitsu. You don't want to be the person that's once is on the ground, doesn't know what they're doing. Also, work on your cage work. Now, at the highest level, everybody's good at everything. So you need to peak out. You need to be different. Maybe have amazing cardio. Maybe be a freak athlete. Maybe try to be explosive as you can. You need to work on every aspect of yourself. And so, in order to get to that point, you need good, proper recovery, good, proper eating habits. And also, you need to make a lot of sacrifices. If sounds like too much for you, maybe it is too much for you. But if this is something that, sounds great to you, then go all in. It's a tough sport, but it's a fantastic sport. You don't want to go half-ass in this. You want to go 100%. You want to go all in. And you also don't want to be stuck up in your own mentality and think, I am the best. You never want to think like that.
Mm-hmm.
It is good to have a little bit of delusion, but you need to be logical more than anything. Delusion is only good as you walking out to the fight, thinking you're a god, you're the best. That's great. But out of that, you got to turn that off and you got to remember that you ain't shit. And there's a lot of people that are better than you and that can beat you up. And that's how you will level up by constantly trying to be better every day. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So day by day, little by little, and surround yourself by the right people.
I love that breakdown. That's the brutally honest truth of it. Completely agree with that as well. And I think yeah, pushing 100% on it. It's not a sport you want to go, half-ass into. There's so much to reap from it, and sometimes showing up to training, sometimes doing the right thing. The only person you're shorting the benefits at the end of the day is yourself. So
Absolutely.
yeah, good perspective, and I think the viewers will appreciate this. Other than that, Antonin, thank you for coming on the show, man.
Thank you, Adam.
We'll there and quick question. People want to keep following up with your story, and hey, I mean, you said your fight is coming up soon in midway through August. Where you and your fight?
So I'm on Instagram at Train with Antonin. That's mainly where you can check me out. I should be fighting a prospect August 15th that will be in Sarnia, and I plan on putting on a hell of a show. So, keep an eye out for me.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Yeah, so we'll have all of those links into the description to Anthony's social media, and also anything up we can find online about his fight. We'll also have it linked there. If not, all of it will be on his social media page. Other than that, hopefully you got some value out of today's episode and you enjoyed learning a little bit more about fighting. And other than that, episode 7, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you in the next one. Peace.
Thanks, Adam.